Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Kensington Wine Market, Scotch Malt Whisky Society of Canada, December of 2024 Outturn, the last Outturn of the year. Hopefully you guys didn't have to make the crazy rush through traffic home like some of the rest of us. I just finished eating myself. I know Stan and a few of the other staff might have been the same way. But hopefully you have your drams poured. We have a very cool lineup for you today. 7 new drams. We will be starting the night with one called a Transcendent Experience. Second in the lineup will be Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Bananas, which I think is a sequel or an unofficial sequel to Lock, Stock, and what was it? Two Smoking
Barrels.
Barrels, yes, that we had before.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the unofficial Guy Ritchie series that's going on in the SMWS right now. Next up, number 3 is called Welcome in 2025. After that, at number 4 is Classic Cherry Clafoutis. I'm guessing is the pronunciation of that or something close. Then we're going to go back in time before Welcome into 2025 with whiskey number 5, which is called Merry Christmas. And number 6 will be Bacon Baked in TREACLE Fruitcake. And we will end the night on From Heavy Peat to Sticky Sweet. So 7 new drams in front of us. I will share in case anybody didn't get it. It seems like the link was broken on my end in the email I sent out. So here is the blind tasting booklet if you want to follow along. And here once again is the tasting order. And we'll be doing this as we usually do, where we run through everything twice. First run through will be blind. We won't give you any more information than what's on the sample vial you have, and what's in the tasting booklet, which does have some redacted notes regarding region, age, and price of the bottle, and which distillery that bottle comes from. Second time around, keep some in your glass, and we'll revisit everything and reveal it on that second run through. But let's start with our first run through, which is what we usually call the lightning round. Let's dive right in to a Transcendent Experience. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Rob. And hello, Marnie, who's joining me tonight.
Hello.
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 So, Transcendent Experience. Only way to go into one is to dive right in, I think. This is from a first fill ex-bourbon barrel, 216 bottles from the Outturn, 58.8% alcohol from the 17th of June for the distillation date. It's not like a super expressive nose, but it's got this sort of floral potpourri going on.
It's
Bit
got
of
a
red
nice,
fruits in there. Sorry?
I find a touch of like kaffir lime, really like perfume lime. Yeah.
Yeah, lime's a good call. Might have some saltiness to it as well. Almost like a salt and pepper chicken wing thing going on for me right now. Wasn't what I just ate, I swear.
Mm.
Lots of salt and spice in there, but it's got these great fruit notes in behind there. If it wasn't so salty, I think this would go a little bit creamier. Maybe a touch of oiliness in there as well.
It's got a nice texture for sure.
Really fresh and bright nose. It's like a springtime dram for me almost, but I appreciate, Marnie, your comment on the texture, the mouthfeel, and there is some oiliness, which makes sense for this distillery, but the flavor profile is a bit unexpected.
Chris Walker says, I'm getting wine gums. There is a bit of that like wine gum fruitiness. There's this chalkiness that kind of runs counter to it as well and keeps everything from getting like just bursting with fruit for me. But it does have these nice notes of going into like a almost like a strawberry custard or yogurt to it. Trying to think of what that chalkiness is in there, but it's definitely got some minerality.
You made me think of those those candy cigarettes growing up.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Popeye's brand. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Do those
Popeye.
still exist?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was saying in a tasting a while back that I do have a photo of all three of my children plus a few of their cousins
Smoking?
smoking those. Yeah, which is going to go in wedding photos in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but doesn't that just encourage children to start smoking earlier?
Eat,
Yeah,
eat candy.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the Surgeon General's warnings on the pack did not discourage them, surprisingly.
God, that's a great reference. Now that you've said it, it's just taking me right back to those.
Right.
There's something on the nose here that is that chalkiness, Evan, you're talking about, like just opening that
Yeah.
package of those crazy, goofy cigarettes and it being
Yeah.
chalky dusty.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost goes into like the pink cotton candy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something strawberry in there. Almost like picking fresh strawberries as well for me.
Yep. Yep.
And
I think makes the palate quite fresh too. It's got that
Mhm.
candy quality on the nose, but really lovely fruit quality on the palate, like fresh fruit.
Yeah. Mike B says they call them candy sticks now instead of candy cigarettes. Yeah. Chris is so woke. Yeah.
Chris,
Saltiness.
Yeah, thanks.
so you'd
Yeah.
Google it. 1 or 2.
Yeah. Mm. Well, that's a great starter. Let's go right into Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Bananas. It was Two Smoking Whirlpools was the last Lock, Stock from the SMWS, if I remember correctly.
not whirlpools, lock, stock, and two smoking
Funnels.
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 Funnels,
Funnels.
thank you. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was funnels. Yeah.
What did you call this, Evan? The Guy Ritchie series?
Yeah, it's the unofficial Guy Ritchie series. Very different nose on this one. The initial cask for this guy was an ex-bourbon hogshead. Final cask was a refill HTMC ex Isla hogshead, 19th of June, around the same distillation date, just 2 days over. 264 bottles from the Outturn, 60.3% alcohol. So HTMC, which mean heavy toast, medium char, if I remember correctly. For the style, it says that at the bottom here too, of the Society's tasting notes. You do get some smokiness on there, but I'm not sure if I'm getting full on Isla peat on that. It's almost like you burnt a s'more around the campfire.
Yeah.
Certainly on the nose, but it's light. I mean, when you sent me the pouring order and you popped this into the number 2 spot, I thought, oh, here's Evan being all rebellious again. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's there. There's definitely peat there, but whether it's from the distillate or the cask.
Yep.
That's really interesting. That's neat.
Yeah, knowing which distillery this comes from and thinking about other bottlings we've had from this distillery from the SMWS, like I can kind of get the DNA of it, but it's not as like full-bodied and crazy as I expected it to be.
So if you really group the lime whiskeys at the beginning here.
You get lime on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. And it's in the tasting note too.
Good call.
I do not get the banana reference. There's nothing about this for me that's banana-y,
I
which is just me.
I think Evan's comment about, sort of burnt s'mores.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I can get sort of a smoky banana thing. Yeah,
There aren't bananas in s'mores.
can be.
What? I don't even know you.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a barbecue banana and chocolate?
Yeah. That's what you do.
Yeah,
You cut the banana
yeah.
open and fill it with chocolate
Yeah.
chips and maybe throw in some marshmallows and you grill the banana, but not a
Yeah.
s'more.
All right,
It
fine.
You're
does.
mad.
Yeah. I don't want this to lead to divorce or anything, but
I'm not going camping with
maybe
him.
Rob's just being creative. Creative. It does have a bit of a barbecue banana with chocolate, or even into a flambe note with bananas. Bananas Foster note for me on the
Oh,
nose.
yeah. The only dessert my mother ever
Say
made.
something. They can go.
Was bananas Foster?
Yeah.
She just
After,
loved setting the kitchen on fire, or
oh, she was not a good cook. She hated cooking. She was an okay baker, but yeah, no, a trip to New Orleans. That's what she came home with.
nice.
Banana Foster. Not literally, but
Yep.
that was her dessert.
I've never
Yeah,
had it. I don't
that
think I
was.
even know what banana Foster is. What do you do
You
to the
just have
bananas?
to. You essentially put them in a frying pan and you flambe them.
Yeah,
Usually
caramel.
with like
Yeah.
with some liqueur, or liquor, so usually like a Grand Marnier or something like that.
Got it.
Okay.
I'm in.
Stan says leather and light brown shoe polish. I love that you're getting specific with the colors there, Stan. I enjoy thinking that's me rubbing off on you in a poor manner.
You're saying you have a polishing effect on people, Evan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, he's got a fine shine on him, that man. Again, I'm surprised that this is not bigger
Try to
than it
turn it
is.
down.
It's really well put together. It does almost have this chalkiness coming through again, like the first one on the finish. Tyler, thank you. Tyler says I'm late, but a big fan of the sticker seals versus the plastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tyler, we may be
Right.
going like this for the future. It was one of the smart additions that Andrew made when we did our This Is Not an Advent Calendar this year, because we have the same labels on the top. We made them a bit more generic. Instead of putting Advent Calendar on them, we just put KWM so that we can use them for tastings in the future as well. And hopefully save a lot of our staff from inhaling plastic fumes from a hairdryer. Let's go on to number 3, which is Welcome in 2025. Cool looking bottle label on this one. So this cast type is a first fill X bourbon barrel, 5th of December for the distillation date. 191 bottles from the Outturn, 61.4% alcohol. And part of a 4-part winter series set, it says. Well, this is a good nose. I would say you could reach for limes again on this one too.
Yeah.
This is a great nose.
This is going into like waxiness too, is like some really nice wine gum, waxy wine and or waxy lime notes, and even into those green lime jujubes on the nose for me.
Jujube's good call. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting, well,
It's fruity. Like
sort of cherry nibs maybe.
Yeah, that's a good call.
It does have a,
Haribo gummy bears, I'll toss in there too.
oh yeah. Slight mint quality to it, like spearmint.
Something cooling in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Cool.
There's a,
Yeah,
yeah,
even
definitely a
inhaling
menthol.
there. Yeah,
Oh, there's Dan.
that is delicious.
oh boy, that is a good nose.
The menthol note comes out more on the nose after tasting it.
Mm.
Comes on the
Almost
palate
going
too.
into like almost going into like a peppermint tea with honey on the nose.
Yeah, it's a good call. That's really beautiful.
Delicious.
Yeah.
A bit more mouth coating than the last ones. It doesn't have that chalkiness that the first two had. Still has a nice zing to it.
There's something herbal about it to
Yeah.
me too.
But yeah.
Yeah.
You mean like more like a thyme or something like that?
Yeah, something a little bit savory. I mean, lots of, just, again, those green, almost kind of exotic fruits. I love the green jujube comment, but overall greenness, a savory note too. But very nice, very, very nice.
With a few drops of water, I could see thyme and maybe even into a bit of rosemary. Mike B saying best one so far. Saying I've had coconut that smelled less like coconut than this. Nice. That's a good comment. That is a delicious dram.
Yeah.
Takes fairly well to water. I don't necessarily think it needs it though.
Doing it.
And I'm actually gonna go back in time now and go 1 and 2 just because I didn't add water to those and just see what happens.
If anybody has poured all 7 out, I don't mean poured out, I mean poured their drams all at once before starting, you would have noticed a lovely gradation of color
Yeah.
as you go, like literally in order of lightness to darkness, which of course was entirely intentional on our part.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
That's what I did. I didn't have time to taste them. I actually just put them in that order because of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a new approach, but I like it.
It's right. Drinking by color.
Going back to a transcendent experience with a few drops of water there, it is so like just pillowy marshmallows, like just opening up a bag of those gigantic marshmallows right now on the nose. Bit of that on the palate too, but still a really nice pronounced saltiness. The chalkiness kind of disappears a little bit with water. It gets into a more hard-edged minerality, I would say. And then number 2, lock stock with a few drops. The smokiness gets more into like almost like a brown sugar barbecue sort of smoky tone to it. Almost into a bit of pork rinds as well.
Yeah, there's a really it's a interesting smoke, isn't it? It's not peat smoke, it's not campfire smoke, it's like, yeah, the
Yep.
pork rinds are
Yep.
a good note. I don't want to say like burning flesh, that's terrible, but
Barbecue
something
pork belly.
organic.
Yeah.
Something organic that's burning almost. It's a really interesting smoke.
It's certainly not overpowering, hey? It's quite
No.
lovely. Yeah.
Be keen to try that in a little while.
Actually, that with water goes really nicely on the palate too, but we'll get back there. Okay, we've done up to 3. Let's go on to number 4, which is classic cherry clafoutis. My terrible French is halfway decent.
Clafoutis or clafoutis?
Clafoutis,
Clafoutis, okay.
French dessert. We've gone from banana
Yeah, I never
Foster
looked it
to
up.
cherry clafoutis.
Nice.
Oh, what a nose.
I have
442 bottles, 50.2% alcohol. Yeah, this stood out to me when I was ran through the lineup quickly to set the order. It blew me away. A little bit of waxy notes and lighter fluid on the nose. Yeah, lighter fluid and like some grape jam mashed in there. Almost into Welch's grape juice. Polished leather or new leather shoes.
Cherry cough syrup.
Yeah,
Cherry
cherry cough
cough
syrup.
syrup. Oh, good call.
Lots of leather on the palate. Yeah.
Mike B says drop in ABV from the previous one is very noticeable.
Yep. So oily in the glass too. Mm.
Still plenty of flavor for the lower ABV for the 50.2 there. Definitely
Chris.
goes into those cherry notes there. Chris says this is not whiskey. I don't know if I'm saying it the same way you would, Chris, with disgust, hopefully not. But
That's a
may not be
strong
whiskey.
stand you're taking there, Chris.
Yeah.
You gonna die on that hill, Chris?
This is the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing like this has ever happened in this club before.
You're saying we would mislead you. That's terrible.
Yeah, that cherry cough syrup note is just all over the place now on the nose.
Uh-huh.
It's cherry cough syrup through a Twizzler straw, and then some licorice and menthol in there as well.
Yeah, there's another menthol thing going on, isn't there?
Yeah. No lime this time though.
The first two were about lime.
Menthol.
These two are about menthol, maybe.
Clearing our sinuses.
I see what you've done here.
Actually, there could be a little bit of lime peel on the nose here. It's probably all in my head.
Scotch Malt Whiskey Society and other things we can put in Green Bottle Society. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Fair point.
Yeah. That is gorgeous. I'm gonna try it with water. I don't know that it needs it though. Water does mellow out some of the spirit notes, allows the cherry notes to come through a bit more.
I think it definitely helps to bring out the fruit.
Yeah, agreed.
It's another beautiful jam for sure.
There's a bit of maybe this is maybe a weird one, but grilled watermelon with a little bit of balsamic and a sprig of mint on it.
I have never ever thought of grilling a watermelon, but
Yeah,
Can
you?
you?
I.e. exactly. It's mostly water.
yeah, that's
So I guess though, if you did it on the skin.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty thick skin.
It goes even more mint and menthol on the palate with water. I think I prefer it without, but water does not kill that at all. Okay, let's go on to number 5. Number 5 is called Merry Christmas. This started its life in an ex-bourbon hogshead before it was put into a first fill Oloroso hogshead. 16th of February for the distillation date. 270 bottles from the Outturn, 60.9% alcohol.
With a name like that, it should be under everybody's tree.
Yeah. Kind of noses like we may be having us some figgy pudding.
It's very rum-like, the nose.
But then, and I think I said this on the first one, but strawberry yogurt, like specifically opening up Yoplait strawberry yogurt on the nose right now for me.
You'll play for sure. Yeah. Well, it's
Not Danone.
It's made by, I think it is actually made by Danone, but the brand in this case is Yoplait. Danone makes all yogurt everywhere, I think, at this point. Mark says, the nose reminds me of my grandmother's Christmas pudding sauce. Very cool. brown sugar and treacle. That is such a bright red fruit nose.
The palate's got like fresh red cherry juice, maybe cranberry juice too.
Oh yeah.
Such a
Like that.
Christmassy nose. Holy smoke.
Yeah,
So-
cherry juice, a little bit of cinnamon in there as well, and a touch of clove.
I find the mouthfeel to be a bit thinner than some of the others we've had. I wish it had a slightly more viscous feel going on to it.
Agreed. It's kind of going for viscosity, but it's still too thin to
It's
just
just a
stick.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a little thinner than what we've had, and for me, there's also a bit of a disconnect between the nose and the palate. I get very different things on both. I like it all, and I like when that happens because it's unexpected. But the nose is very much a big sherry bomb, but then on the palate, it's for me, it's not quite.
Yeah.
No, but it sticks with you. You know, it's
Yep.
even though if it's not viscous, I mean, it's got a long finish.
For somebody who drinks primarily wine, that is me, I really love the palate on this one.
Mhm. It does seem like that Oloroso hogshead had some left an impression. Oh, with a few drops, the nose mellows a bit, but it's still so rich and round with those red fruit notes.
Yeah, lovely oak on it.
Yeah, some fruit leather notes coming through now.
Oh, that's nice. That's a curl up by the fire one.
Yep. Yeah, good dram.
Yeah. Like that one.
Killer lineup so far.
Do you want to talk about the winter series?
Oh, when we go through the review,
Okay.
I've gone back to
Yeah.
the other one, Welcome in 2025, that's part of this winter series set, and I so far prefer it to the Merry Christmas one, but we'll see if that holds up over time. They're both great, but I think I prefer the first one.
Some interesting comments on that one before we move on. Kevin K says sticky cinnamon buns. I could see that. Mark says, is anyone getting saltiness off this one? I could see that, especially on the palate there. And Stan, one of our other wine staff, is thinking that maybe the Oloroso is giving it that briny, salty finish. Very, very cool. And Tyler's wondering if Mark is a salty one. It's late November. I think pretty much everybody's salty at this point. So
Yeah.
if it's not in your attitude, it's on your boots from all the snow that we've gotten and all the stuff they've tried to do to clear it. So let's go on to number 6, which is bacon baked and treacle fruitcake. Multiple casts on this one. This is something interesting that I want to talk about later on the reveal too. Initial casks, ex-bourbon hogshead, first and final casks, first and refill bourbon sherry hogsheads, again plural, distilled on the 1st of September, 478 bottles from the Outturn, 58.5% alcohol. I love how the SMWS seems to create these unspoken rules and then decides to break them themselves, which is always makes things interesting. Oh, full on ozone right on the nose there. So coastal. Back to the limes too. This is like go to Native Tongues downtown, get the chicken taco and squeeze a lime on top of it.
We haven't been there yet. I drove by it today.
Good stuff. Really good food.
Yeah.
Mark says smells like really good barbecue sauce. Derek gets the hickory reference. I agree.
This is just classic peat and sherry in beautiful balance.
Yeah, great balance. Really nice combination of dry and sticky sweet going on the palate with that smokiness.
Bacon that's
Mark
got
says,
maple syrup on it.
yeah,
That bacon that you guys have at your festivals from Peasant, is it the chocolate covered
Yeah.
bacon?
Covered bacon, yeah.
yeah. That maple bacon too, it makes me think of the when I was at the Petroleum Club working there, they used to make maple bacon glazed or bacon wrapped scallops in a maple glaze. And this is what it noses and tastes like.
Mm.
Just like a touch of like mustard heat on the palate on that one.
I cannot believe you just said the word mustard, because as I just took that sip, I'm thinking to myself, this is almost grainy. There's a grainy mustard, not the
Yeah.
hot Dijon and not French's yellow mustard, but the whole grain mustard.
Yeah.
You
Almost
tasting
like
any grain from
somewhere,
home?
yeah.
It's
It's
great.
almost in between like the grainy mustard and cocktail sauce. Like it's almost like could be mustard, could be horseradish on there for the heat for me.
Doug, Native
Really,
Tongue just opened in the University District. Oh, well, I go to the University
Whoa.
District for my spin class, but that's like at 9:30 in the morning, so I don't know if I could go in for tacos after. I don't know why not.
Yeah,
Exactly. Be a bit more salty.
That's right.
yeah.
That's another curl
Maybe
up by the
they
fire whiskey. Wow.
maybe they even make it like a post-spin taco.
Here, just wipe out all the work you've just done for the last 45
Yeah.
minutes.
Here's your recovery taco.
Uh-huh. Recovery taco. I love it.
Yep. That works.
On to number 7, which it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. I was super excited to have something non-green go at the end of a tasting. This one's in the spicy and dry category, which is maybe shocking. This is called From Heavy Peat to Sticky Sweet. Cast type is a new oak barrique number 3 char, 16th of May for the distillation dates, 171 bottles from the Outturn, 64% alcohol.
When we were offered this one by HQ, and I read the name, and I read the tasting note, and I saw that the tasting panel had put it in the spicy and dry flavor profile, I emailed the whiskey team and I said, hey, Ewan, did you guys get this? Should this not, really? Are you sure? Like, was this a mistake? Like, no, it's spicy and dry profile. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can have peated whiskeys not in the peated profile, but you just want people to know that before they drink it if they don't like peated whiskey. But they stuck to their guns on this and called it spicy and dry.
So this nose is spicy and dry. From my first
Yep.
time tasting it, I don't get the dryness on the palate, but I'm going to see if that changes this time around.
I also don't get the peat on the palate very much after that last one.
It's big time leathery though. Lots and lots of leather and even leather polish on there.
And it's big. It's just a big whiskey. Oh, the smoke comes much later,
Yeah.
way back here.
Yeah, and it's like you're building a fire in the back of your throat.
And more cherry.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's interesting.
So we're in the
Oh, Mark.
leather and sweet flavor category.
The leather
Yeah.
and sweet category.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Leather and
that might
spicy.
be your own category, Rob. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if we're talking about the same flavor profile. Mark says, am I getting bay leaf? There's definitely some savory notes in there with the spice. Actually, bay leaf, even on the nose, like they're the dry bay leaves that you take and toss into some stews. Bay leaf and sage smoke. Good call, Mark.
Spearmint.
Oh God, we're back
Yep.
to mint. Spearmint.
Yeah, no,
Any
it's
limes?
definitely-
Any limes on this one?
And a bit tannic. It's a bit drying.
A little bit, yeah.
It's definitely got some tannin.
I would love to know what the crowd thinks about these last two in the order that they're in, because I think fundamentally this is less peated than the one before, but it's a bigger whiskey.
Yeah. For me, and I thought about it while I was doing it because I was learning about it too, but my personal opinion on it is this is so mouth coating that it just overpowers. Like if you go back to number 6 now, I feel like it just kind of gets lost. But give it a try and see what you guys think. Man, I still don't get the spicy and dry category. It almost seems like category justification for me.
Maybe more of a reference to the physical, the drying aspect of it, maybe?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, spicy and dry, I don't get it either. It's just, I don't know what else you put
But
it
what-
in, to be honest, but yeah,
Yeah, because I'm not sure it really sits nicely in a peated category. So
cannot be categorized.
cannot be categorized. Defies profiles.
There's a little bit of like chipotle seasoning in there and seasoning salt as well.
Okay.
Like a jar of Lowry seasoning salt that's been in your spice store since the 1980s. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, now thinking about it too, because it going back to it's like nosing a Caesar in the glass with the salty rim and the clamato juice.
Yeah.
Chris says I'd put this in deep, rich, and dried fruits. Yeah, that kind of seems like the logical alternate one, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of category, that's a pretty cool dram.
Very cool dram.
This is
magnified.
this is a really, really fun lineup. I love when I can kind of put it in an order where it's a roller coaster ride, but I don't think I could have put it in an order where it wasn't a roller coaster ride with this one.
It started off pretty gentle, but then the
Yeah,
roller coaster got great.
that was the
Like a roller
Burnett.
coaster. You just start.
Yeah.
that was the chain cranking us up to the peak before we
Yeah.
And then I'll help
right
Bruce.
into things. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Well,
fun.
let's
You know,
go,
Evan, when you
yeah.
when you sometimes set these unorthodox pouring orders,
Hmm.
like the lightly peated early on, I forward that to the other stores because they all generally follow what you decide. And Adam in Victoria has already had, he was the first one to have a tasting. He had his first of 3 tastings a few days ago. So I sent him the order. I said, here's what Evan's come up with. Classic Evan style, a little unorthodox, but you know your members best. If you want to change it up and try them yourself, feel free. And he wrote back like immediately and said, "No, this looks great. Let's go for it. If it's really, if the crowd rebels, I'll change the booklet for the next tasting." But he was fully on board. So I haven't had feedback yet, but
Nice.
people seem to like it when you kind of shake it up a little bit.
Right on. That's good to hear. Never been a fan of orthodoxy, so. Let's go back and try number 1 again, and then we'll talk reveal as we're going through here.
That's become a really good nose for me on number 1. Candied.
Yeah, that chalkiness is still there all over the place, like this chalky candy note still, and I really like that. Yeah, it's like you're right in front of the cotton candy making machine that's swirling around, and they're pulling everything out of there.
No, I think it's more like your head is in the cotton candy machine. It's wrapping itself around your head.
No, it's okay. I don't need.
You are the stick.
Yeah.
Or you're on your second pack of
You have to
candy
eat-
cigarettes.
You have to eat your way out.
That's right. Yeah, it's your parents are trying to overdo it, so you go cold turkey right after that, apparently.
Yeah.
Spun sugar and medicine. Oh, nice.
Yes,
Yeah. Well
nice.
said.
That nose is really
Oh, yeah.
pumping up.
Yeah.
It's a fun
Spun
nose. Like it's
sugar.
really
It is.
fun.
It is. You can almost hear the carnival music like coming out of the glass there.
If the roller coaster start.
Yeah. There's even a little bit of candied apple in there now on the nose.
If anyone's writing a crime novel or has a dream of doing so, you can use that cotton candy, death by cotton candy reference.
Yeah, my God.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
yours.
Why haven't the Coen brothers used that in a murder scene yet? That would have been perfect in Fargo. Wrong time of year, I guess, but yeah. Marnie, do you get any of the lime notes you were getting the first time around on this stuff?
Yep, for sure. Yeah. And I think with respect to candy, it's like a little bit more like saltwater taffy to me now on the palate.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, saltwater taffy is a good call for sure.
Yeah, the lime's still there, for sure.
Mhm. There's a touch of Sharpie in there now too on the nose.
Always the Sharpie.
What color?
Yeah. This is like you've gotten the hyper expensive but fun colored Sharpie pack, and it's like the mauve purple one. Pretty much makes the same color as the color of the top of the whiskey bottle on this one. So a transcendent experience. I will share my screen here because this is worth looking at. We have had this distillery, I think a couple times where I placed it number one. And this distillery tends to go in a few different ways, but still have DNA that's shared through those few different ways. This is Scotch Malt Whiskey Society 93.208. It's the 208th cask of Glen Scotia, bottled by the SMWS. It is 9 years old. Glen Scotia, of course, is in Campbelltown. It's been put in the young and sprightly category, which I think it fits just fine, actually color-wise. And really nice price on this one too. 17th of June, 2014 for the distillation date. And it is $158.
It is definitely not, I think, what one typically expects from Glen Scotia.
No.
But for me, the DNA is there because we've kind of been talking about some saltiness and, for lack of a better word, I want to use funkiness, but that's not quite right. But there's always just something a little
Yep.
off in a good way about Glen Scotia's. And this is there. I think the DNA of Glen Scotia is here for being sort of unpeated and unoily and coastal-ish. So you're right. It's unusual when they end up first in the lineup, but it has happened. And it's delicious.
It is. Yeah, there's not, if there's peat in there, I'm not getting it. Like it's not something that jumps out to me at all. Which is rare. Glen Scotia usually has at least a little bit for me, even when we put it first in the lineup, but it's missing that oiliness that a lot of Glen Scotia gets, and I think that's what makes it light enough to put it number one in this case too. Great fruit notes, and this is fruit notes that you don't get in Glen Scotia usually until it's in its maybe mid to late teens from what I've seen in their official bottlings, where it starts to go a little bit more fruity and even into some nice tropical notes as well. But it's a killer cask, and I love how, kind of like Springbank, Glen Scotia really is not afraid of showing its unapologetically inconsistent side. Where you never really know, like you've got an idea of what you're looking for when you get into a Glen Scotia, but it's never going to be exactly the same as the last one or the last batch, which makes things so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, single cask Glen Scotias are a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I really enjoy that. We've actually been seeing a lot of them from the SMWS, some Campbelltown Malt Festival bottlings and some other single casks and stuff as well. That's great. Let's go on to number 2, Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Bananas.
Oh, for me, the smoke has muted on this.
I'm looking forward to going into this one again.
It's a little bit more floral now for me.
Yeah, it's like floral with a burnt marshmallow note in there or something. Or some burnt sugar notes for me.
I get no smoke on the nose. Oh, it's still there on the palate.
Yeah.
This is one where I think, like, what would you put? This could have almost gone into the spicy and dry category as much as the last one does.
Or oily and coastal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether, yeah, I'm not sure. Smoke, there's sort of a burnt brown sugar on the nose
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, this second time around, I'm lychee syrup, Stan says that's a good call. It does have that sweetness, that sort of like uh I noticed especially in my whiskey calendar tasting notes from last year, it seemed like when in doubt, say lychee, when I read through my notes again.
Don't say like.
Where it's like there's some notes in there that I just can't quite pinpoint, so I'm gonna say lychee for the fruit.
Default words.
But Stan, I trust you far more than my palate, so I'm gonna go with you on that one. It's a cool dram, and it's got the smokiness is mysterious to it as well. And it does share some DNA with, well, we don't see official bottlings, but some other bottles this distillery might be in. For me, especially coming back to it a second time. I'll share my screen here. Here is the link for this one. Probably not a distillery anybody would guess. Can't wait to see what happens in the live version of this tasting on Friday. So this is Scotch Malt
really
Whiskey
interesting.
Society SMWS 78.75. It's a 75th cask from Ben Nevis Distillery in the Highlands. And I think it's the lowest ABV Ben Nevis we've seen over the last year from the SMWS's Canada as well. Flavor profile is lightly peated, although that is possibly coming just from the ex-Isla cask. This distillery does do some peated runs though, so maybe that's got something to do with it as well. And from the 19th of June 2014, and $169.99 for the bottle. Really good price on that. Yeah, Mark says Ben Nevis. Wow, agreed. This is, what is it? The last two we had, there was All Aboard the Cajun something train.
Oh, Garbanzo's Cajun
So
Train
Cajun
Ride,
train
which was a
ride,
big
yes.
sherry bomb.
And that one seemed like it had a bit of smokiness to it, but it could have been cask again, if I remember correctly. It was
Yeah.
a big meaty dram. And like 65 point something percent alcohol, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. In this case, the reference to the refill HTMC X Isla Hogshead, that X Isla Hogshead previously held Kalila.
Mhm. So there are notes on the finish on this one that make me think of Nika from the Barrel, which is sort of like a perennially good whiskey to get that says it's Japanese whiskey, but still, I believe, says that it has non-Japanese ingredients in when you go to Nika's website, which likely means it's got some Ben Nevis in there. I feel Ben Nevis probably plays a bit of a role in that bottling for good reason. But I like how approachable this one is, and I like how it's a head scratcher when it comes to the smokiness.
Totally. It's a really interesting whiskey.
Okay, let's ring in the new year once more with Welcome in 2025.
Great nose. Citrusy.
Yeah, it's a fantastic nose.
Go with the menthol
Uh,
cooling.
waxiness again, I think I said on the first time on this one. Creamy,
Definitely has creamy quality to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
almost going into this is probably still made by Danone, but the Oikos lime might is it kefir lime or is it just
Yeah.
lime yogurt?
Uh,
Yeah, with the lime on the bottom. Super creamy, but it still has that lime note to it.
I feel like you eat a lot of yogurt.
Ooh,
My kids do, and then I end up being the garbage disposal unit. So
That's his
Yes.
role too.
No, it's called food disposal.
Food disposal.
yes, yeah.
It's not garbage. You're disposing of food.
Oh, there's a lot of junk food that they don't eat. Maybe because I get to it first, but it still beats their fault for not eating it. Oh, so we have a single cask from this distillery that's fantastic. I'm going to say this since Andrew's not around. I think this might actually be better, which is saying a lot.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Mike B says number 3. Did number 3 get better somehow? I think it's gotten a little bit rounder and richer in the glass, but like slightly mellower at the same time. Has a little bit of a Galliano liqueur note to it, which is a Italian vanilla based liqueur.
I'm not sure I've ever had Galliano.
It's in the only drink that we had it for, which we never got asked for when I was at the Calgary Patron Club, was Harvey Wallbanger, which is I believe it's a screwdriver where you float, so vodka and orange juice where you float Galliano on top.
Sounds like one of those drinks from, the Mad Men era, and I feel like we should bring it back. We should make it cool again.
That's right. I think it was actually started in the 19 teens in New York by somebody. Maybe somebody named Harvey.
Harvey Wallbanger. So, Marnie and Stan, I want to ask you wine folks, the tasting note here references white mushrooms and young Calvados distillate. Both of those are lost on me. Is that anything that resonates with you?
not really. I mean, the Calvados, the apple, but
I got white mushroom. I've never seen that in a tasting note before, I don't think. That's
No.
really odd. And I'm not sure if they mean something,
Earthy?
again, earthy, herbaceous,
slightly-
savory.
Well, I
slightly
mean,
Maybe
earthy.
that's maybe that's the SMWS's version of my lychee.
But I guess, when you cook mushrooms and they release their juice, and it's going to be different for the different kinds of mushrooms. Like white mushrooms are definitely the most delicate, right?
Yeah, and there is a very distinct smell with that as someone who cooks mushrooms. Yeah.
Speaking of white, there's a definite white chocolate note on the nose right now for me.
Oh,
Like unwrapping a white chocolate Toblerone around Christmas time.
that a thing?
Yep.
White chocolate
yes,
Toblerone?
yes, it exists. Yeah.
Huh. I gotta get out more.
Well,
Well,
that's
you don't
kilogram.
need white chocolate.
I don't eat white chocolate. That is, yeah, that's a delicious dram.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the link for this guy. So this would be an interesting one. I think some people could blind this as this distillery, if they've had enough of it recently. The society has been bottling this distillery up that we've seen some releases from, mostly usually in a secondary ex-sherry cask for a lot of them. This is Scotch Malt Whiskey Society 39.307. It's the 307th cask of liquid from the SMWS. It was matured entirely in a first fill ex-bourbon barrel, which is some of the best liquids are, especially at this age, in my opinion. It is 12 years old from the 5th of December 2011. And flavor profile wise, they say spicy and dry. which I could see. I think that kind of makes sense for me. Price on this guy is $167.99.
I've only just spotted the ABV on this 61.4. It didn't read that way to me at all.
No.
No,
Not at all.
this is way too approachable for that.
Yeah. For anyone who wants to keep score, this is also a sister cask to some recent other Linkwoods we've had. 39284 Push Pineapple Shake a Bee from April. 39272 Red, Green, and Yellows from July. And 39288 Lawnmowers Run Amok in an Orchard from September, which was fab.
Just going to check our Kensington Wine Market cask. I think it might be just slightly older, but not by much. Oh, same distillation year, 2011.
Ah,
Yep. And ex-bourbon barrel as well.
which
Too
has the
bad they
better
don't give
price?
a specific date. Ours does, but not by much. This one is really reasonably priced. And it's a fantastic dram too.
And it's part of a set. You have to buy it.
Yeah. Bottom line is, you guys should probably buy both and just side by side them.
Good advice.
Yep. On to number 4. The one that Chris is adamant that it's not Scotch.
Chris, what do you think it is then? Please hold.
Armagnac.
Chris,
Oh,
you're on fire, man. It is an Armagnac. Good call. I was so excited when I nosed this one and when I was setting the lineup. It is fantastic Armagnac.
Yeah.
We had a cognac years ago from the SMWS, and I think it might even had peppermint in the name, and I can't remember which one it was, but it reminds me of what I recall that nose being, where it's like minty and has this great leathery note to it. Has those underlying cherry notes that you get in a lot of Armagnac especially, and it's just delicious stuff.
Yeah. There's something about Armagnacs and cognacs at this time of year, at Christmas time. That's why we put it in the
Yep.
December lineup. It just fits.
Yeah. But I tend to be, not that I've tried a ton of either, but I tend to be more of an Armagnac fan. I just find it has more character, and it's not just trying to go for like elegance all the time.
Yeah.
So Kelly has some interesting notes on this one that I think are worth talking about after this, but for the reveal
Okay.
for this Armagnac, this is Scotch Malt Whiskey Society A4.8. It is vintage 2006. I believe Kelly said it was bottled in 2023, so you can kind of do a bit of math from there. Grape on this was Baco, maybe Baco Noir, if I remember correctly. Or no, Baco and Baco Noir and Marnie, are they the same grape? you know?
I've only heard it referred to by Baco Noir. I don't think there's
Yeah.
a Mont, is there? No. Yeah, so it would be the same.
Okay. So matured in a refill Armagnac barrel, which is, I think, slightly larger in size too, like 350 liters or so. I could be wrong. 442 bottles from the Outturn, of course, 193.99, which I think is a pretty darn reasonable price for this bottle as well. Everything sub $200 so far too, I believe. Kelly, you had mentioned that you found some notes on a website on this one.
Yeah, the US branch had a really nice little blurb about this. I poached it in my notes here, so I'll read it. It says, This single cask Armagnac was crafted from the Baco grape variety and navigates aromas and flavors of cherry, strawberry, raspberry, and chocolate rather effortlessly. Floral and herbal accents only deepen the profile, creating an exceptional spirit to explore. Any bottle of Armagnac from this impossibly small estate is already rare. A single varietal single cask is an exceptionally unique opportunity to savor. So there's the sales pitch. But yeah,
Have
it's
we
lovely.
have we had an A4?
I think so.
Before?
Esperance,
Yes.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'd have to do a quick Google on that, but I think so.
Yeah. The nose right now on it is like you combined an After Eight chocolate stick with a strawberry Pocky and bit them at the same time.
The stick, not the square mint,
Yeah, the stick.
because you're biting the Pocky at the same time, so you need to have the two sticks.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're a purist, man.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm okay with I can live with the SMWS not doing cognac anymore if that's the plan, but I hope they stick to doing Armagnac every now and then.
Yep, for sure.
Delicious stuff.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Okay, on to number 5. Merry Christmas.
Oh, I will just jump in. I've just pulled up the bottle archive for other Armagnacs from this house, if you will, and we had just A4, the very first one. They didn't give it a dot number. I guess they didn't think they were going to have more, but they did. So A4 some years ago called Soft, Spicy, Rich, and Intense. And then there was A4.1, Elegant and Inviting. And then there was A4.5, A Cup o' Kindness.
Cool.
So yeah, this would be
Yeah, I
our
seem to
fourth.
remember really enjoying a cup of kindness as well. Okay, more into the dark drowns with Merry Christmas.
Ooh, it's gotten even bigger on the nose.
Yeah, there's the nose just it seems like there's some density to this one, doesn't there?
Yep. It's a weighty nose.
Weighty nose.
Weighty. Does that make sense? It's got some heft.
Yep.
It's robust and big and
Yeah.
Yep.
Still get that strawberry yogurt's cherry yogurt note, personally. A little bit of black forest cake in there as well.
It's just syrupy.
Yeah. Almost actually a little bit of Kirsch liqueur in there as well on the nose.
Be great on vanilla ice cream.
Cool. The palate still isn't as thick as you might expect
Yep.
based on the nose,
yep, correct.
and it doesn't quite coat, like it's not cloyingly coating the mouth because of that, but it's rich.
It is rich. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got some texture to it for sure.
Another fantastic price with this one too. Okay, this is Scotch Malt Whiskey Society 115.33. It is 9 years old, distilled on the 16th of February 2014. Lots of 2014 drowns in here, actually. I think the first two were 2014s as well, if I remember correctly. And this guy is from Speyside. Spent 6 years in ex-bourbon hogshead before transferring to a first fill Spanish oak ex Oloroso hogshead. And only 165 for this guy. I can't remember off the top of my head. What is distillery 115 again?
Knockdhu.
Knockdhu, nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Knockdhu seems to be one of the distilleries that does just as well in sherry as it does in ex-bourbon. for me on the unpeated side.
So at this point, I will just touch on the winter series because you've posted the images and you've got these labels with the big letters on them. Tonight we've got the M for this one, Merry Christmas, and the W for Welcome in 2025. And then the first one that was released just last week, maybe it was a mid-month release. This one, the S, Supernaturally Sweet Smoke. It's a 12-year-old Kalila. And the idea is it's a 4 bottling set to be dribbled out over the winter months. So this one came a couple of weeks ago, and now we've got the next 2 in this outturn. And then the 4th one, which will also start with S, is in honor of Burns Night, and that's coming in the January outturn. So you buy all 4 and you'll have this really cool collection of winter series bottles on your shelf. And they're just meant to be accessible, nicely priced, easy drinking whiskeys to enjoy over the winter months. So that's the winter series set.
Yeah, it's a neat concept. Actually still haven't tried that the 53 yet, but the
Oh, do. It's, I know it didn't benefit from being in a tasting, and that just had to do with sort of shipping and timing and a bunch of factors, but it's a sherried Kalila and it's absolutely lovely. So yeah, do try to get some in a glass and try it. It's lovely. And we didn't get a ton of this, so, or a ton of any of these really. So, you know, Andrew has his allocation, and I'm sure with names like Merry Christmas, they will go, and people will want to collect the whole set. But yeah, the sherried Kalila is beautiful.
Cool. Okay. Well, potentially, speaking of that distillery, let's go on to number 6.
What a giveaway. Oh,
Yeah,
or what a
spoilers.
segue.
Okay, how is bacon baked in treacle fruitcake holding up in the glass? Oh, I was talking about density on the last one, how the nose just seemed dense. There's a density to the peat smoke on this one, where you can it's almost like you are trying to swim through it on the nose.
It's definitely got a gravitas. Yeah.
It's got this like slight creosote, like burning old railroad ties note to it as well on the nose for me. Barbecued shellfish.
I still get, you know, you've got pancakes and a side of bacon, and you put your maple syrup on your pancakes, and it sort of falls off, and the bacon soaks in it for a while. That is still the nose for me.
Yep.
And the palate, the smoke is very chalky kind of smoke. It's unusual.
It's dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's even got like the someone diced up some cantaloupe and put it on your plate on the breakfast. Like, you know, so you could pretend it's slightly healthy.
Next to the grilled watermelon.
That's right. But there's cantaloupe and it's got a old school sprig of parsley on top, on the palate too. Yeah. That's right, guys. We've gone to Cora's for breakfast.
God.
Parsley doesn't get the respect it deserves.
It's just a garnish.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Parsley should get more respect.
It's a superfood.
It's a Rodney Dangerfield of sprigs of vegetable or herbs, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Evan, you wanted to talk about this one with the cask treatments.
Yeah, so let's just bring it up and then we'll get to that because yeah, I have some questions and I'm wondering if they've been asked. So this guy, I did allude to it being Kalila. This is indeed a Kalila. Never sad to see a Kalila in a lineup. This is Scotch Malt Whiskey Society 53.471, the 471st bottling of Kalila by the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. It is 15 years old, distilled on the 1st of September 2008. Spent 10 years, sorry, yeah, this is a convoluted one. Small batch 15-year-old from Isla, result of 2 ex-bourbon hogsheads, one being transferred at 11 years old to a first fill PX hogshead, and the other two at 10 years old to a refill Oloroso hogshead, then married together for the remainder of its maturation. The ABV BV 58.5% alcohol. Glad I read that because it does kind of answer what I was thinking. And my first thoughts on this are, why does it get a bottle or a number, whereas other small batches have not? But it does sound like they married this in one single cask at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Answered my own question there.
There you go.
Yep.
He doesn't need us. We can leave.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
There's a bit of almond paste and marzipan coming through on this one now. What I really like about this one, and I tend to be a sweet tooth when it comes to drams. There's been Kalilas we've had where it's almost like coming up against a burnt edge of minerality on the palate and on the finish. This one is kind of missing that, where there's a sweetness that just makes all the salt water and brine kind of, and the smoke just kind of like fade quietly into the background instead of being shut off by these burnt edges. That is a really good dram. Okay, last but not least, the one that maybe could have gone in other places in the lineup. Let's go back to from Heavy Peat to Sticky Sweet.
It's a good name.
It is.
God, that's a thick, again, another, Marty, you say gravitas, another
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
really big, rich, thick, robust nose. Wow.
Yeah, this is just like a swirling mass of like maple syrup and like buttery pancake syrup and then leather
Yep.
jackets, all kind of swirling around and fading into this black hole.
Yep.
Even noses like the burnt orange rind that you get on some fanciful old fashions nowadays.
From a mixologist, not a bartender.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just turns to spearmint gum on the palate. There's just a flash of it.
Yeah.
What's the gum? Big Red. Is that what it was?
Oh, you're thinking
I think
cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Yeah.
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 See, originally I was going to make a joke about doubling your flavor, which, because it's
No,
got
I
the
think-
double mint note.
God, that is a big whiskey. Holy cow.
There's so much like roasted barley notes even on the nose right now though too, like where the grain is still coming through on that.
Tyler, is this even Scotch? Well, there's the
Yeah.
loaded question, huh?
There you go.
We wouldn't do that twice at
Yeah.
the Outturn.
Tyler, Texans make scotch all the time.
Oh, no way.
Wowee.
Yep,
They do it big in Texas.
they do. This is Scotch Malt Whiskey Society 140.20, the 20th cask from, I believe it's Belcones Distillery.
Yep.
And 20th cask of single malt from Belcones Distillery, because they have bottled other Belcones whiskeys as well, if I remember correctly. This is only 3 years old, from Texas, entirely aged in a new number 3 char barrique, which is interesting. Bottled at 64% alcohol, 197.99 for this guy. 16th of May, 2019 for the distillation date. So was this peated malt?
I don't know.
I don't think they do peated malt, but I could
don't
be
know.
wrong. That's like the seeing peat in the name really threw me on this one.
Well, but they do, don't they have in one of their proprietary lineup?
They have
God,
a smoked corn whiskey, and I think they have a smoked wheat whiskey, but I think they're smoked, and it doesn't say that they're smoked with peat. I think they
Okay.
use like hickory or something, but I could be wrong.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
That kind of makes sense.
because there's something drier and not necessarily in the same earthiness as peat for me on this one, but it could be all in my head. I love that leathery note. That's another one that had that big bold leathery note recently was the whiskey from Nantu Distillery that we had in, was that September? See if I can
Yeah.
pull that one up.
138, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
138
know
or
what you mean,
something.
Evan. Some of the words in this tasting note, scorched and wood ash, like it's
Mm-hmm.
not a traditional peat style whiskey. It's a very different kind
Yeah.
of smoke.
Yeah.
Tyler says leather and almonds on this one. I could see that. Also says another Balcones. Damn Canada. Damn right. I love that we have something, again, I don't necessarily agree with the color choice, but I love we have something non-green coming at the end of an outturn. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, and I think it deserves to sit there. It's a very big whiskey.
Yeah.
it is. It's massive and mouth coating.
Yeah.
That was one hell of a lineup.
Merry
I
Christmas.
cannot, yeah,
Oh,
I cannot wait to share this again in person on Friday because I think it's just gonna blow some minds what some of these are. Um, Such a fun outturn, like great all the way through. The Armagnac there, I just absolutely love, but there's so many that I do. Any comments on everything there, Marnie?
well, I mean, I think just overall for me, it's been the most eclectic
Yeah.
outturn that I've tasted through. Uh, they're all very interesting and a few of them quite beautiful, I think. And of course the Armagnac, I would have a soft spot for that, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
just standing. Yeah.
Mhm. Kelly and Rob, anything you want to touch on before we take off?
I don't think so. I think what great. Love your word eclectic, Morning. I think that's exactly what it was. Great way to end the year. We'll see what 2025 holds. But yeah, Evan, tell us how it goes on Friday. We won't be there. We'll be at the Banff Whiskey Festival this weekend.
Yeah,
For anybody
absolutely.
who's looking for something to do this weekend, there are still tickets available for the Banff Whiskey Festival. But
Mhm.
yeah, really solid way to end
Yeah.
the year.
Yeah. And more great drams coming next year. So, I mean, shameless plug here, but if you have friends who are whiskey drinkers, buying them a bottle for Christmas is not a bad thing to do. So they'll adore you forever. So
A bottle
Yeah,
called Merry Christmas.
yeah, indeed.
that's right. Yeah, if you're not sure which ones to get, just look for the giant S or the giant W. Or the giant M, pardon me. Well, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed the outturn as much as I did. And links have been put up there. The bottles are live if you're looking to purchase. Hopefully we will see you, if not before then, but in the new year for the January outturn at the beginning of January 2025.
I suspect we'll see a number of these faces over the month of December for your This Is Not an Advent
Yes.
tastings.
Yeah. Which I'm madly trying to do blog posts on just so I'm not having to do them day of. I know Andrew enjoys doing that last minute, but I don't as much. But it's going through what we picked so far has been a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with everybody. Thank you guys. Thank you, Marnie. Thank you, Rob and Kelly. We'll see you guys again soon. Take care.
All the
Yeah.
best.